This stars to say in my part of the world, and welcome from me, Martin Smith, aka Cornish Grandad, to my YouTube channel. I trust you're well and interested in learning how to use the Blender video sequence editor to animate your videos. Today, I'll show you how to focus on a particular area of the screen, perhaps to highlight a set of buttons or a particular area of the text or something. And then we'll animate a flying saucer zooming and fading into the distance as a vehicle to demonstrate the interpolation modes and modifiers in Blender, i.e. those bits we haven't yet looked at. So today we're going to talk about how to zoom into a particular area of the screen. So you can see up here we're talking about setting keyframes and we want to zoom into this panel. Now a keyframe is basically a statement that the value in this particular field at this particular point of time is this, and then the value later on at a particular point of time is that. So that's a keyframe, so it's recording the value on a point of time. In our conversation we start about here, I think. Yeah, we're pointing at the cursor here, point 1, and then we're going to zoom in. So at this point we need to be on our standard view. So if we go to our video frame, we go to transform, we have recorded here the current start position and current scale. So we're going to record those at this point of time by clicking on this little circle here, and it changes to a large diamond, and the color changes, says I have a keyframe set for here. So if we go forward in time, we actually start looking, the arrow's starting to point up to this panel here. So at this point we need to have zoomed in. I guess we need to zoom in about 3 times. So if I drag my mouse down across these two fields, I can change them both together. So we'll zoom in on a scale of 3, and I'm going to set a keyframe there, but I'm looking at the flying saucer. I need to be looking at the keyframe area, so we probably need to scale this way a bit. There we go. And we probably need to go up a bit, I think. Up a bit. So we get it all in view. That'll do. So set a keyframe there. And then we talk about keyframes a bit. We set all our keyframes. At this point we've finished setting our keyframes, I think. We'll record those and then we can go back to our normal scale in a minute. So somewhere around about here, these positions were 0. Set those. Scale was 1. Set those. So if I want to repeatedly look at one area, the easiest way to do it is hit the P for preview button. Drag a box around the timeline you want to see. I start here, example, press play. A model of a flying saucer which we're going to animate over 50 frames. So set on frame 1. So it's zoomed in. We can insert keyframes on location and rotation. And zoom back out again. A model of a flying saucer which we're going to animate. It just restarts and just recycles through this area. So that's worked quite well. So let's get rid of that preview. And on our second frame, I think we do roughly the same thing. Yeah, we're setting the frame here. So somewhere around about here, I guess I need to store my keyframes. I know you probably noticed in the video we did it slightly differently. We right clicked and inserted keyframe. Doesn't matter whether you use the little diamonds or not. Then we are going to go in and change them. So at this point we need to zoomed in. So we'll set that at 3. And we can zoom in. Minus 300 I think. No, a bit more. There we go. Store those. Set our keyframes there. I think we finished. So we can store those. And then cursor's disappeared off somewhere, so we need to reset these to 0. insert keyframes, insert keyframe, and these will one. Notice you've also got a clear keyframes if you want to use that option. Doesn't matter. So we can do our little preview pane across here. Have a look what that looks like. Then we can take it up to frame 50. We can give it a wobble on the X and a bit of wobble on the Y. Zoom back in. Set Z to 2 full rotations. We can insert keyframes on that. See, that's worked quite well. So there we go. We have zoomed in and zoomed out using keyframes. The next thing I want to look at is I want to animate our flying saucer. Currently got our flying saucer here, and it just sit and wobble in the middle. So I want to start it off big here and zoom it up to there. But I've only got a few seconds of video here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this strip, drag it across and drop it there. And just for interest, I'm going to reverse this one, so it's going in the opposite direction. And there's an option here that says reverse, which is basically playing the frames back to front. So here we've got our thing wobbling slowly in clockwise direction, and here it's going anti-clockwise because we reversed everything back out. Okay. I'm going to actually start off in the middle point, because the middle point I obviously don't want them to move. So we're going to go to that frame. Now that frame there is actually the first frame of here. So we go back one using our left arrow. So that's the last frame of this one. And I want to set keyframes on there. And then we'll go to the first frame of this one. So make sure we clicked on this one, and we need to set the keyframes to there. So we've got our midpoint now. Going to our first one, doesn't matter which order we do these in. I want it to be a bit bigger, so we'll set that at 1.5. Okay, set our keyframes, and I want it to be in this corner. So I'm going to put it across and pull it down so it's roughly there. That'll do. So that's our starting point. And our end point is one back. Make sure we selected that one. I want it to be smaller, so I'm going to do 0.2. That looks about right. It's flying off into the distance. And I want it over here somewhere. There we go, that'll do. So let's just preview that area. So P for preview, drag the area. Start from the beginning and play that. There we go, it wobbles and disappears often. But it's a constant colour, which I don't quite like. So we can change the opacity of this. So, beginning of this one, we can change the opacity. So we'll set a keyframe to 1, so that's fully coloured. And by the end here, 1 back, we want it almost faded out. Something like, oh, there we go. Set a keyframe on that. So let's play that. Yeah, that's all right. It kind of a bit of a jerky movement. So one thing we can do is, I never use the browser here, so I normally change the browser to the graph editor. So if you click on that and go to graph editor, there we go, that's our graph editor. And if we zoom in on what the graph editor looks like, that's the current curve for this flight. And we've got lots of interpolation options. So currently it's linear, so you can see the straight line behind. You can change it to various other shapes if you like. Interpolation mode. I actually found this one when I was playing around earlier. Some of these were quite fun. There's the bounce. Can you see the bouncy shape? And you can see it drawn on there. So if we go down here and play this, see it bounces. I quite like that. I thought it was quite fun. So we have now used zoom to zoom into a particular field, which was quite interesting. Quite useful. And we've played around a bit with our flying saucer model now to give our finished output. So we've created a little movie strip where we've got a fun little flying saucer. Let's look at the final output from this. If da, as they say in my part of the world, and welcome from me, Martin Smith, aka Cornish Grandad, to my YouTube channel. I trust you're well and interested in learning how to create a flying saucer animation. Here we have a very simple model of a flying saucer which we're going to animate over 50 frames. So set on frame 1, we can insert keyframes on location and rotation. We can set it to 25. We can give it a bit of a wobble on the X and a bit of wobble on the Y. And we can set Z to 2 full rotations. We can insert keyframes on that. Then we can take it up to frame 50. We can give it a slightly different wobble just to make it, because if it's flying, we give it another 2 full rotations and we can insert keyframes on that. And then we can render that out. I hope you've enjoyed and learnt something from this tutorial on creating a flying saucer animation. If you have, then please subscribe and click like. Keep in touch and I hope to see you soon. Hope you have enjoyed and learnt something from this short series on using the Blender video sequence editor. If you have, then please click like, and if you want to see more videos I make, then I'll be grateful if you subscribed. Keep in touch and I hope to see you soon.